Simgigat sigramhanak uberworkset en ganes kubedgel schokken met oik smo Gitlaxa hasat kun side sigramnak side xilol wai lachalt apple with kui wilps wisen spil with kui kiskas ni. My name is Louisa, and I come from the house of Wissenspiel. I was born in Greenville, Nass Valley, and today I would like to thank Creator for a beautiful day. I quit drinking in 1983. But I didn't sober up until 1991. I didn't go back drinking once I quit in 83, but I didn't realize that I wasn't sober. I thought all I had to do was quit drinking, and didn't realize that marijuana was a mind-altering drug, so that meant I wasn't sober. I didn't realize that being sober meant quitting everything. I thought that doing other things like doing drugs wasn't harmful. But it wasn't until I listened to many speakers in AA rallies and meetings that it was really important for me to quit everything if I needed to be sober. I heard in AA meetings that it was really important to have a higher power, and a higher power, when they said a higher power, I thought they meant God, but I realized later that you can use anything or anyone as a higher power. And so I chose to quit drinking. I chose my son, one of my sons, and he motivated me to quit drinking. My last drunk was 35 days long. I started drinking. And when I was fired from a job on March 25th and of that year in 83, and I just kept drinking until May 4th. My son came into the room and he said, "Mom, I'm going to go live with Auntie Rena until you quit drinking." And I remember promising him for about 100, maybe more than 100 times that I was going to quit. And I got up after he left the room and I looked out the window and I'd seen him walk into school. And he was kicking a rock and I knew he was crying. That really motivated me to quit drinking. And so that night, that day, I still wanted to drink some more, so I phoned one of my sisters up and I told her I needed to drink one more time. I was going to quit and I was going to go into detox. But my sister said she quit, and I went to her place anyway, and that night I went into my sister just nursed me all day And I went into detox that night, and that was the end of my drinking in 83. And then 8 years later, I just couldn't quit smoking marijuana, and I decided to use another higher power, which was my first biological grandchild. And she was born April 30th of 1991. And on June 11th or June 10th, about 6 weeks later, I was really stoned and I was holding her. And as I was holding her, she was looking at me, and it just seemed like she was just really looking at me and trying to say something at 6 weeks old. And I just started crying, and I promised her right then and there that she wasn't going to smell that on her Gigi ever again. And I went upstairs and I just got rid of all the marijuana I had, and that was the end of it. That was June 10th, 1991. So I've been sober now for 29 years. I quit drinking 37 years ago, but yeah, 29 years I've been sober. I sobered up for my granddaughter, and since then I now have 24 grandchildren and 12 great-grandchildren, and all of them have been worth my sobriety. None of them have seen me drunk or stoned, and yeah, they've been worth it. The most important suggestion I can give to anybody is that it's almost impossible to do it on your own. Because if we could do it on our own. If we were strong enough to do it on our own, we could have done it a long time ago. But it's really important to know that we all need help. We need help to get strong on our journey. And I've known a lot of people who have tried, who claim they do it on their own. They don't need meetings, they don't need counseling, they don't need psychologists, they don't need treatment. But I also know them not to be very happy. And they claim to be happy, they act happy, but deep down I know there's things that really a person has to do. And the most important thing is dealing with childhood trauma. And nobody can do that on their own. They need help. And after I sobered up, I went to university, which I didn't think I would ever do. And I became a counselor, family support worker. And so I've done that for 26 years. And in the 26 years, I remember that I need to always be working on myself. In order to help other people, I need to always be working on myself, whether it's just going to AA meetings. And so people who want to change their lifestyles really need to deal with that one big thing, and that is childhood trauma. And we can't do that on our own. And so one of the things that I have always referred people to is trauma treatment centers. And the one that I usually recommend is South Laleham in Nanaimo. It's a really good childhood trauma center. So I still go to meetings. COVID-19 has really had an impact, but there are Zoom meetings, and fortunately for us here in Terrace, my home group Tuesday night is still going, so I usually go to that. And I still, since COVID in March, we've had several deaths in our family. I just lost a niece on Tuesday, and so I don't say that, well, I'm gonna deal with it. I do deal with it. I don't just say it. I'll make an appointment with a counselor too, because we're always grieving, and so it'll be good for me to have some grieving sessions, and that's what I plan to do. And so for anybody going on this journey, it's so important to deal with the four aspects of sobriety. That's the mental, the physical, the emotional, the spiritual. It's so important to continue working with that. And I do have some nieces that say, well, because of COVID, they've isolated, and I went into depression for a while because of COVID, and then I realized, no, I can't do that. I was anxious. Even yesterday I tried to go out and was so anxious to get back home, and it's not good for my spiritual self. It's really important to continue to work on. I know I'm lacking in my physical, so I signed up today for a gym thing and swimming. So I'm feeling good about that. And going to meetings, spiritual. I plan to go back to school once this COVID thing is over. That's my mental health. And so I do things to work on all aspects. My higher power today is Creator, and I rely on Him a lot, and other people in program, and I stay in touch with the healthy people, and it's really hard to find sober people, especially in a small town. I lived in Victoria for 10 years, and it was so easy to have a large circle of sober people. But we all have a choice. Even in a small town, I have a choice. Am I going to sit home and feel sorry for myself, or am I just going to force myself to go out? And so I've made that choice, just to go out and still take precautions, but I'm not paranoid about it, because that's also unhealthy. I'm not paranoid about COVID. I'm not, because my strong belief in Creator is stronger than my paranoia. So, and Ulican Greece, I believe in Ulican Greece. So, yeah, those two things. I feel that's two of my greatest aspects. And so it's a very rewarding journey. It's not always easy, but it is what you make it. I make a choice every day. What is my day going to be like? and nobody can make me happy, nobody can make me sad. My day is what I choose it to be. And if I wake up in the morning in not a very good state, I'll go back to bed and get up on the other side, so yeah. It's a worthwhile journey. All my relations.